How much, honestly, do you miss playing?
Professionally,
Yeah.
0.
Oh, really?
Yeah. MBFC is a special part of, especially in the USL. I think when you look at where we're based, the community outreach that we have as a club, you can say black and white, but then there is grey area within that. And I think I'd probably say that they're good students because they always listen to what you say. But I think sometimes it can be too black and white. Probably a type of guy that doesn't like losing for one and wants to get things right more often than not. So.
What's up, guys? It's Chris Moulton, Andrew Martin. It's the Union Report with Monterey Bay FC, and we have with us today the gaffer, Jordan Stewart. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely. So I was going back through, and this is the 8th time that we've interviewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you're kind of like the
New sayings as well.
Yeah. So
you upgraded.
So I wanted to kind of start off first talking about the Colorado Springs game. Can you kind of run us through what you felt worked, what you felt didn't work there?
I think first off, we played very well. We managed to score. Obviously, Tariq scored his first goal for the club, but I think there was probably about 2 or 3 opportunities, or other opportunities, I should say, that we should have probably put the game to bed. And I think second half they came out firing, and we didn't have an answer to that. I think obviously we just mentioned about the altitude, but I think it played a part, but I think it shouldn't have played a bigger part than maybe it did. I think after 60 minutes, we didn't have a shot on goal, which is obviously disappointing knowing where we are in the season and what we need to do to get in the playoffs. So first half, very good, and second half, not so good. So kind of a tale of two halves, but also understanding the ramifications of not winning games. Do you know what I mean? Especially over the past few weeks and months, we need to change that mindset and kind of go in a direction where we are picking up more points than we are losing.
Yeah. And something I'm always curious about, without divulging too many of your secrets, what typically happens in your locker room during halftime? Are you more of a teacher, a listener, a pep talker?
It depends. It depends on the result. It depends how the guys are playing. Whether you be in a more positive vibe or you need to maybe show some accountability. So I think it depends on the situation of either or. But I think no matter what you do, you're always trying to lead with the positivity going into the second half. Obviously after the game, depending on emotions and that kind of aspect, I think it can change. But I think once whatever the team talk is, then going into as guys are going out, just to give them the confidence and the positivity to try and get the result or to try and maintain the lead.
Right.
So Jordan, we're currently sitting in a 3-way tie at the bottom of the table. We're about 7 points out of a playoff spot. The question on every fan's mind has to be, what happened to the form that we saw earlier in the season, and then what are we going to do to earn that playoff spot?
No, great question. I think when you look at the start we had was fantastic. I think all my reflections from, because I've been thinking the same things as well, right? Of like, how do we start so well and then fade and keep fading rather than having like, we've had little blips here and there, like a couple of ties, but then kind of fell into losses again. I think one, it's at the start of the season, new group, lot of confidence. You start winning, breeds more confidence, and you go on a run. And even as that run was going, I think I mentioned to you guys, like there's going to be a point in time where that stops.
Right.
But then it's stopping then that other side of the coin of where you're losing or drawing to then flip it again to then get another run. And you see in the league, right? New Mexico flying. Now they took a dip. San Antonio took a dip. Flip side, Sacramento didn't start well. Now flying. Lexington got a bomb. So I think this league is a league of where you can gain momentum, and the most important part is towards the end, because at the start, like you've seen, we started on a great trend, and then now we're on the other side of the fence. So it's for me, I always try and look at the positive side, even though it's frustrating. Like very frustrating, because I think if you look at all the games we've been involved in, even when we're losing by 1 goal. And when I look at the games and reflect, I don't think any teams probably outplayed us. I'll probably say Louisville at home, Phoenix on the road the second time. I thought they was a better team. And I think against Indy, we just wasn't at the races. It was humid, like guys couldn't adjust to how hot it was. And we just never looked like we got going. But I think any other game that we've been in, I would never say or come speak to the guys after them like, well, yeah, we got outplayed there. So it's the fine margins, but I think they matter more so now than it has maybe earlier on the season. We remember doing the scat against Colorado and when we won 2-1. And when I reflect and watch that game again, it's like, maybe we should have lost that game. And I don't think, yes, it's fortunate, but I think a lot of it is how we manage the game a lot of the time. Yes, we can say we need to score more and concede less, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, we win together and lose together. So we have these remaining games, and you got to try and be prideful and win as many games as you can. And wherever that leaves us. But knowing that what's happened before, you can replicate it again. So as long as we have games, we're always going to try and give our full effort. But yes, it's been a part of the disappointment of the season for sure.
Definitely.
So kind of playing off of that, I believe there's 6 matches left for Monterey Bay in the regular season.
Yep.
If I'm correct, 5 of them are here at Cardinale.
Top row away.
Yeah. Would you have any message for fans about the season to date and what they should expect during the course of these final matches of the season?
No, I think obviously when it comes to the fans, you want as many bums on seats to give us the 12th man aspect. You know what I mean? So I think for us coming down to support the guys and support the team, I think there's a lot of special nights we're going to be holding over the remainder of the season. So I think having that, but then also knowing that we're going to come in still fine at every game. And I think, yes, on the road we've had poor performances, but I think here at home has been more of what we expect along the season. So I think as many fans as can come in and have the energy and give the noise, I think is always a good thing for ourselves. And knowing that the guys are still gonna fight to the very end. Yes, it's not where we want to be, but end of the day, we still have games, like you said, to play for. So we're looking to win as many games as possible.
So, like body paint or like any some crazy things that the
Well, whatever the fans want to do, as long as they're noisy,
All right,
and they back us and they give us the energy to try and get us over the line, I think is always going to be appreciated.
Okay, great. Andrew?
Yeah. So imagine you have someone in front of you that's never heard of Monterey Bay FC. Could you give like a little elevator pitch for anyone looking at the team about why MBFC?
I think MBFC is a special part of, especially in the USL. I think when you look at where we're based, the community outreach that we have as a club, the people that are involved from leadership all the way down, there's lots of different connections still in the community. So I think that plays a big part in where you want the club to be. On the flip side, yes, we haven't had success as yet, but I think over time, we are trending towards that way. I think some, obviously, fans, they always want it faster than later, which is totally understandable. Even for me, right, I don't want to be seeing where we are. I want to be right in the playoffs, trying to have a home game. But I think the community is probably the biggest part, and I think what you have from a bunch of guys, yes, we are losing games, but they're always going to give their all, and that's sometimes a tough pill to swallow, especially when you're not getting results. But I think ultimately you want to create a locker room that has guys that are willing to fight to the end. And I think you see that on a daily basis out there. And now it's just the little margins that we need to get right. Yes, we're a young team. And I think there's still growth from a lot of players, but I think we're on the right side of the track to get this club to where we want to be. So in a roundabout way, I think community is big for Monterey, and I think we're on the cusp of doing great things.
Right. So this is your first full season now as a gaffer in USL Championship, and we talked to you. Like I said, this is the 8th time we sat down together, and we talked to you pre-season, off-season. What are some things from back then until now that you've learned about yourself and learned about your coaching style?
I think you have to be adaptable. I think when you're a coach, you have a style, or you believe you have a style of how you want to coach a team. And I think, especially in USL Championship, there's a lot of adjustments having to be made from game to game. I think we have a good squad that can adapt during those moments. I know you might play against a team like Tulsa that kick long all the time, so you have to adapt for different variations of that type of game, or you can have more of a team maybe like a New Mexico that are more possession based, and then you have to adjust in there. And then just the messaging, I think sometimes you can say it black and white, but then there is grey area within that. And I think I'd probably say that they're good students because they always listen to what you say, but I think sometimes it can be too black and white. So we kind of have to adjust that verbiage of how we speak to the players on like how we want them to play, but then try and give them the freedom within that structure. So I think probably that's the biggest learning curve for me, and just learning through coaching, right? Learning how to be a coach, how to be a good staff member to the rest of my staff, and then also speaking to leadership, front office. So I think just every day is a learning process. You're not always going to get it right, but I'm probably a type of guy that doesn't like losing for one, and wants to get things right more often than not. So when it doesn't happen, understanding you have to reflect on those times and keep going. I think it's part and parcel of it. And then, yes, I have a family at home, so making sure whatever happens here, I don't always take it back home, which is probably the hardest. Which is probably the hardest part.
That's true. Remember that one. You don't remember anything.
Well, my kids remind me of that because they don't care.
So this year's roster has increased depth, which was I know a goal of the offseason, and also increased diversity of where players are coming from, which means different styles that they're accustomed to. How has this helped the club, and also what challenges has it presented to you as a coach this year?
No, I think the positives are you get different versions of different players, right? So guys that played in Australia or Europe, they have different stories than maybe players that have played in America, whether it's MLS or in USL. So I think when you have a collective of those players, everyone telling each other's different stories, and it's a learning process, right? It's, well, maybe I want to play in Europe. Well, how do they operate in Europe? How do you travel? Like, how is the coaches? How's the pressure of fans, etc. And then vice versa, when guys are coming over here, what's it like to play in the USL? Like travel, like when do you go to games if it's on the East Coast? Those kind of things. Eating preparation. So I think with the dynamics of everything, it helps. I think obviously on the flip side is there's a lot of players that don't make the roster, which is probably the hardest part of being a coach, and telling a player that he's not going to be involved for the weekend is always difficult. And sometimes a player can be flying during the week, but then just tactically, it just doesn't make sense to either start him or have him in the roster. And that's happened a few times this year. So that's the negative side of having to operate with so many players. But I think with the season that we had, especially with being in the Open Cup so early and playing so many games, it was important to, and we didn't know how the Jägermeister was going to operate and where we'd be traveling and those types of things. So I think with all that said, I think having a deeper roster was the right way to go. But yeah, on the flip side, like I said, it's sometimes unfortunate that guys are not able to dress, and I know that can have a mental strain on players. But to be honest, guys that haven't made the bench have always been professional and kept going. So like, I applaud them for doing that, and hopefully them guys get their chance later on this season now.
Okay. Thank you. You're not that far removed from your own playing career.
Yeah, don't know about it. About 8 years long.
Yeah, not that far. How difficult or easy is it for you to remove yourself from situations where you might want to, like, I'm going to show these guys how it's done. I'm going to jump in there and do this. Like, how difficult or easy is it for you to tell yourself that, or to resist?
It depends on day to day. Like today, I got involved with the guys. I think what I try not to do, which is a big focus of mine, I don't always get right, but is I never want to compare my time playing to now, because it's a different era, different generation. Two, mine was in a different place, so I don't really want to go into that detail of me playing compared to the players that are playing now, right? So I think that's one I always try and keep in my mind. Try and get involved. Like, if there's a time to get involved, I will, because I still like playing and like being amongst it and having
move aside,
and having banter with the boys. Not everything I do always happens or always works, but no, I think for me it's a fine balance. You want to get involved, but like I said, you don't want to. I never want to judge a player on what I've done in the past. I can give them stories about different scenarios where it's me sitting in that seat talking to the coach, like, and how maybe sometimes I'd be a bit angry or didn't want to listen and shut off. So I try and, if I lean on my past, I lean on more off the field actions, because I know, especially being a coach now, how important those actions are. Because as a coach, you're looking for every detail in a player, compared to probably most jobs. Like, as soon as you walk into the building, you're being judged, which is, it's probably not a good thing, but that's soccer, right? Because you're trying to find the margins on trying to get the best out of each person, and then obviously from that, then the player that steps out on the field, you're trying to get the best version of them as well. So a balance, but one I enjoy.
Yeah, and we've seen from time to time that you can't help yourself when you've gone out there and made like a kick or something that makes its way on social media.
Yeah, little header, backstick header.
Yeah.
Even though it come off my shoulder, but I'll take it.
So you're still around the game as a coach now, but how much, honestly, do you miss playing?
Professionally?
Yeah.
0.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think when you first start, or what happened to me when I first started playing, it was fun. And over time, probably when I hit 23, 24, 25, then you understand it's a business, right? So for me, it was then, okay, well, how long can I stay in this business? I managed to stay quite a lengthy period of time. And then when it was time to put down the boots, I already knew. So I think it was probably good for me. I think sometimes when players, whether through injury or other situations, then I think it's tougher. But I think if you know you're going to come out the game, it's an easier process. And then obviously, once I retired, I tried to work on my golf game. Then I had kids. So obviously I have no golf game now.
Well, we made it through the first portion, so I don't think we've ever had you when we started doing our rapid fire segment. So we're going to move into the rapid fire segment. It's going to be a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So just answer to the best of your ability. So you scored your first ever goal you scored the first ever goal for Leicester City at the new Walker Stadium, which is now King Power Stadium.
King Power Stadium, yeah.
What team was that goal against?
Atletico Bilbao.
Yep, that's right.
First ever goal, eh? Make sure you tell the guys that as well.
So I found an article from about 2016, which I believe you were with San Jose at that point.
San Jose, yeah.
That indicated that you had more than 70 pairs of shoes here in the United States, and likely more than 100 back in the UK.
Yeah.
Do you still have a strong love of footwear, looking at yours versus my, like, every man's shoes here? And where did that originate from?
I don't have that many now, because over time I've been told to get rid of them.
Would the children need a few more?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So, no, but I think, especially when it comes with footwear, I like matching colors. So I always try and, whatever I'm wearing, I try and like match my trainers to what I'm wearing on the top half. So just over time, I just always try to collect different types of trainers. It used to be obviously more designer stuff. Then when I came over to America, it was Adidas, and now I'm rocking the Pumas. So now I do like my footwear, but yeah, I don't have as many pairs now.
All right. Yeah, I'm envious because I just wear whatever makes my Shrek feet feel comfortable. So
I know that. You got some big feet.
Yeah.
What size are those?
14, 40. Yeah. So yeah, I
more like
really have the same fashion choices. Not that I would take them, because I'm just not, I'm not a fashion.
I'm only a size 9 as well.
Yeah. But based off that, do you have like a GOAT, the greatest of all time pair of shoes? Maybe one that you haven't even been able to own yet.
What is a GOAT pair? I like classic trainers, like, I don't know, like Stan Smiths, or even like Sambas, Gazelles. Obviously Puma do some nice ones as well. So I'm more of the retro classic look. So not really, I've never bought like a pair of like Air Jordan. Actually, I have one pair when I was a youngster. My dad bought me a pair. I don't know what ones they were, but I leave that for the younger generation. Yeah. I keep it simple.
So jumping over to your British roots, I was doing a little research last night. Have you ever eaten Bubble and Squeak or Toad in the Hole?
No.
Now, what are those things?
Bubble and Squeak is like I believe it's something. I probably got this totally wrong because I never had it. I believe it's like some kind of sausage and potatoes, maybe. I might be totally wrong, but I think what was it? One toad in the hole. Toad in the hole is a Yorkshire pudding and a sausage. I think.
I've had that.
Is it correct? Is what I'm saying?
Toad in the hole is correct. I
Yeah.
have not had
The bubble and squeak. I don't know.
Bubble and squeak is mashed vegetables rolled in like breadcrumbs and fried, apparently.
Well, yeah, totally wrong there.
So you get anything that squeaks and some cheese curds. So
Yeah, I've growing up, it was either, I don't know, my dad cooked a lot of Jamaican food and then it was, I don't know, like just normal Sunday dinner.
So since coming to the United States, have you found anything here that you really like that's either not available back in the UK or is not readily available?
I'd probably say Mexican food, especially in California, is for me in the whole of America is probably the best place to have Mexican food. In England we don't really have a lot of Mexican restaurants, and ones that we have are like more chain ones and they're not great. So I'd probably say Mexican food, especially in California.
That's right. I'll agree with that. And I've never been to England, but
Yeah, you won't find much of it.
my wife's from Michigan and they don't have good Mexican
Yeah, exactly.
food. So, well, that's all the time we have, Jordan. We're so thankful that you sat down with us. Hopefully you had as much fun as we did.
Yep.
And we're looking forward to seeing the team out on the pitch this Saturday against Hartford.
Yep.
And let's get those 3 points.
No, yeah, obviously thanks for having me, and yeah, it's going to be interesting back end of the season for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.